Hey film fans!
Welcome to Film Reveal Decoder 2.0, your ultimate hub for movie recaps, from heartwarming classics to the latest blockbusters. Our movie begins at a nuclear plant in California. One of the employees is sitting with his dog when he suddenly learns about a leak in the facility. He and his colleagues rush to inspect the issue, and security forces them to evacuate the area as quickly as possible. They make one last attempt to fix the leak, demonstrating their high level of skill and training. Meanwhile, the dog becomes frightened by the commotion and runs off to hide. The employee frantically searches for it, hoping to take the dog along, but time is running out and security forces him to leave immediately. Heartbroken, he watches as his dog is left behind in the sealed-off facility. A year later, we meet a young man named Josh riding in a car with his friends around town. Suddenly, his sister's dog spots him and starts running after the car, determined to join the ride. Josh apologizes to his friends, saying he needs to get out and return the dog home, but they refuse to let him leave and decide to take the dog along, convinced it won't cause any trouble. At home, Ray is trying to help his daughter fall asleep. Later, he asks his wife about their son Josh. From their conversation, we learn that the family recently moved to a new place and that Josh has struggled to make friends or adjust to his new school. Jennifer suggests that Ray give Josh some space to connect with his peers, believing that this outing is a great opportunity for him to improve his mood and start liking the area. Josh and his friends eventually arrive at the same nuclear power plant. To his shock, Josh discovers that one of his friends, Dwayne, has a weapon. Dwayne approaches the facility and aims at a dog standing inside. Josh rushes in to stop him, but when he realizes that his friends are determined and won't listen, he decides to leave and takes his dog with him. As he walks along a dark path using his flashlight for guidance, his dog suddenly starts barking loudly and runs off into the distance. Meanwhile, Dwayne and his friends split up to search for the dog they intended to shoot, covering more ground. After a while, Dwayne hears a terrifying sound nearby. He carefully inspects the area and finds a prey animal trapped by a wild rabid dog. Horrified, he screams and tries to escape, but he trips and falls. Struggling to get up, he runs away, yet the rabid dog remains staring at him menacingly. Moments later, the dog catches up to him, its speed unmatched. In sheer fright, when Dwayne turns to face the animal, he falls off a high cliff. His friends search for him, but finding no trace, assume he left and decide to depart since it is very late. Meanwhile, the wild dog picks up the scent of Josh's dog and begins to follow its trail. Josh and his dog eventually make it home, only to be met with a scolding from his father for being so late. Forced to explain everything that happened, Josh expresses his frustration with his schoolmates, describing them as savage and insane. He recounts how they wanted to kill the dog for no reason, just for fun. Jennifer is shocked to learn that they had a weapon and thanks Josh for being honest and not hiding anything from them. After saying goodnight, Josh heads to his room to rest. Left alone, Jennifer and Ree eventually hear their dog barking strangely, though they dismiss it, unaware that a rabid dog is standing right outside their door. Their own dog continues barking, trying to warn them of the danger, and the wild dog manages to leap over the door and enter the house with ease. The next morning, the police discover Dwayne's body in the forest and begin investigating to identify his killer. Jennifer and Ree are stunned to find that their dog has vanished without a trace. Desperate to recover it, Ree posts flyers featuring the dog's picture, hoping someone will return it. When Josh hears about Dwayne's death, he feels deep sadness and guilt for leaving them behind. His mother tries to comfort him, assuring him that he is not to blame and that it was simply Dwayne's fate. Months pass and their dog remains missing. Unbeknownst to them, it has been living with the wild dog at the nuclear plant all this time. One day, the wild dog ventures out in search of food and brings something back. At the same time, a group of scientists arrives at the plant to inspect the reactor and address its issues. Terrified by the strangers, Josh's dog flees, leaving the area with bloodstains on its body. When the wild dog returns and catches the scent of blood, it realizes that the dog has escaped and begins to follow its trail. Later, while Josh and his sister are playing with a ball in front of their house, they hear their dog barking. To their shock, they find that the dog has just given birth to puppies. Tragically, the dog dies immediately after giving birth, and the family mourns their loss as they bury the dog and decide to care for the puppies. Years pass and the puppies grow up. Every day, the wild dog visits them, watching from outside the door unnoticed. One day, a new woman moves into the neighborhood. She sees Josh cleaning his garden and asks if he could clean her garden as well, offering a generous payment in exchange. Excited by the opportunity, Josh agrees, and they make arrangements. Later, the wild dog appears again, barking loudly outside Josh's house. At the sound, Josh's dog becomes agitated and tries to escape. When Ree enters through the door, the dog viciously attacks him. His children save him at the last moment, but the dog's behavior is alarmingly aggressive. After calming down, the dog returns to normal, prompting the family to take it to the vet for an examination. Meanwhile, the wild dog becomes increasingly worried about its offspring, watching every move the family makes from outside the house. The vet conducts tests to ensure the dogs are healthy and advises the family to monitor their behavior closely in the coming days. Josh recalls the new neighbor who mentioned that she specializes in animal behavior studies and works as a university professor. Believing she might be able to help, the family decides to leave the dogs with her, as the tests will take too long to complete while the situation remains unresolved. The wild dog, realizing that its offspring are now confined in that place, feels deep sorrow and begins searching desperately for them. He finds a way to enter the clinic and seizes the opportunity to do so. Inside, he discovers the doctor drawing blood samples from the patients. Noticing that the dog is extremely agitated and restless, the doctor attempts to restrain it for a calm examination. Suddenly, the monster appears and attacks the doctor in an effort to save its son, mistakenly believing the doctor intends to harm him. The doctor screams in pain and calls for help, but no one hears him, and he dies. The monster then takes its son and retreats to the station to hide him. The following day, Jennifer goes to pick up the dog and is shocked to learn what happened to the doctor. An officer asks her to speak with the forensic doctor, who questions her about every detail concerning their dog. He confides that he strongly suspects the missing dog was responsible for the attack, especially since it's the only one that escaped from the clinic, and its cage and occurrence he finds highly unusual. He advises her not to take the other dog home, warning it could be very dangerous. Jennifer, however, feels she can't abandon it, thinking that the doctor might be exaggerating. Meanwhile, Josh visits the new neighbor's house and is delighted to see it filled with various animals. The veterinarian explains that she brings her study samples home to protect them from potential harm at the university and to keep her belongings safe. Josh recounts everything that happened with their dogs and asks for her help. Janice, surprised by his story, becomes eager to uncover the reason behind the attack and decides to visit the morgue herself. Upon inspecting the body, she suspects that the bite mark on the doctor's neck came from a wild animal. After discussing several details with the attending doctor, she leaves the morgue with Josh to gather more information. He reveals that their dog had attacked his father a few days earlier, trying to reach a strange dog barking outside the door, and that he often hears similar barking from the forest near the nuclear station. Back at home, Janice analyzes saliva samples from the body and discovers they belong to a mutated, completely unnatural animal. She suspects that exposure to radiation has transformed this creature into a monster. The next day, Ray takes his daughter out for a walk with the other dog when suddenly the dog runs off, following a familiar scent. The little girl chases after it, but eventually loses track. She is shocked to encounter the monster face to face, paralyzed by its terrifying appearance. Her dog immediately tries to defend her, preventing the monster from causing harm. Ray arrives with a stick, and to protect his daughter uses an alarm device that emits a sound so frightening it forces the monster to flee. When they return home, the little girl describes the ordeal to Josh, detailing a terrifying dog in the forest that tried to attack her. Shocked by her words, Josh later uses the opportunity, while her mother takes her out, to approach Janice for further help. He explains what he has witnessed in the forest, and Janice agrees to assist, preparing to delve deeper into the mystery. They arm themselves with a weapon loaded with tranquilizers designed to control and capture the monster easily. Taking the dog with them, they headed into the forest, following the dog since it knew the way well. Josh was stunned when he saw their other dog approaching, looking very different and behaving aggressively. Janice tried to control it and pulled out her weapon to shoot, but she didn't manage in time, and the dog attacked Josh, attempting to bite him. Janice hit the dog repeatedly to pull it away from Josh, but she fell to the ground as the dog retaliated. Forced to act, Josh took the weapon and prepared to shoot. Though he hesitated at first, he eventually calmed himself and saved Janice's life. However, he was overcome with regret and sadness when he saw his dog lying on the ground unconscious. Janice quickly took the injured dog back to the car, knowing it needed to be rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, the monster discovered its son's body in the forest and grieved deeply, lying beside it in the hope that it might come back to life. Josh arrived at the hospital, soon followed by his father, who was furious with him for his actions and argued with Janice for endangering his son's life. Josh defended Janice, explaining that she didn't know what was happening and had simply been walking with him when their dog attacked and bit them. Janice speculated that the feral dog they had seen must be living near the nuclear station and that radiation could be the cause of all this. She told Ray that the monster must have come to retrieve the dog from the clinic and had even killed the doctor. She warned that the monster was likely to attack others, putting everyone's lives in danger. Determined to get to the bottom of things, she decided to return to the forest alone with her weapon. When she reached the spot where the dog's body had been, she was shocked to find it completely gone, buried instead under a pile of leaves. When Jennifer returned home, she received a call from the hospital detailing everything that had happened with Josh. Ree asked her to stay home with their daughter, play some music, and try to keep her distracted, not realizing that the monster was nearby. Unbeknownst to them, the monster managed to reach the roof and easily entered Jennifer and Ree's room through the window, destroying everything in its path as it sensed its offspring everywhere. It then made its way to the little girl's room, where it saw her sleeping peacefully. Strangely, it didn't attack her, as if remembering the way she had once played with and cared for its children. After a while, Jennifer heard noises and went downstairs, thinking her husband had returned. At the same time, Josh and Ree were preparing to come home. Suddenly, Jennifer sensed someone was with her and was shocked to see the monster. Grabbing a metal rod, she tried to protect her daughter. When Josh and Ree finally arrived, their dog ran inside, following the scent of its parent. Ree then heard his daughter screaming and rushed to her room. The monster, frightened, quickly fled, breaking the window glass as it jumped out. Terrified by what had happened, the entire family decided to go to Janice's house. Once there, Janice listened to their story and began to suspect that their dogs might be the monster's offspring. She believed that the monster was attacking them in order to reclaim its children and form a large family lineage. Determined to study the matter further and find a solution to this disaster, Janice set about investigating the mystery. Meanwhile, Josh pleaded with his father and mother to allow him to help with the mission so that together they could find a way to stop the menace. They worked together to find a solution and return home the next morning feeling somewhat safe. However, the monster reappears and calls out to his son in a specific way to lure him in. As the sun rises, the monster traps his son and locks him in an outer room, determined not to let him harm anyone in the family. Hearing the dog's frantic barking, the little girl goes outside to check on it. There she finds the monster standing before her, and it seems as if he's trying to communicate. Suddenly, the monster grabs her forcefully and attempts to take her somewhere. When her parents realize she's missing, they become extremely worried and set out to search for her, taking their dog along. They eventually find the dog locked up, but their daughter is nowhere to be seen, and they sense she is in danger. In desperation, they rush to Janice and ask for her help. Janice explains that the monster is very clever. She speculates that when the monster realized his son had died and the other son no longer wanted to live with him, he changed his plan. Now she believes he may have taken their daughter as part of a trap, likely to the nuclear power plant. The group gathers and devises a plan to rescue her. Josh and Ree head into the forest with the dog, which can quickly track the daughter's scent. After a long walk, the little girl grows very tired and insists on resting, and the monster allows her to sleep. Meanwhile, Jennifer arrives at the power plant, breaks down a door, drives her car inside, and calls for her daughter. Soon the dog leads them along the same path the girl took, showing them her footprints. Jennifer and Janice enter the plant, where Janice confirms that the monster has made this place his lair. They grab weapons and prepare for a possible attack, splitting up to search for the girl. On her path, Janice encounters the monster and quickly shoots it with a tranquilizer to subdue it. Unfortunately, the monster drops the dart and bolts, attempting to attack her. In the chaos, Janice accidentally drops her weapon and tries to escape by hiding among gas pipes. The monster finds her location by her leg and drags her out, but Janice fights back and manages to escape again, hiding in a narrow spot where the monster can't follow. Meanwhile, Jennifer hears an approaching sound and readies her weapon, only to calm down when she realizes it's her dog. Relieved that the dog is safe, she follows it, believing it will lead her to her daughter. Janice tends to her wounds and goes to help Jennifer. Before the dog can reach the girl, it encounters Ree, and the two get into a struggle. The little girl, hearing her mother's voice, wakes up quickly and tries to follow the sound to reach her. Unfortunately, the monster defeats his son in the struggle as the son proves too weak. In the final moments, the monster prepares to eliminate the humans who stole his children. He grabs a large rope and pulls massive pipes, intending to drop them on Ree and Josh. Just then, his son intervenes at the right moment, protecting them, and all the pipes fall onto the monster instead. The impact renders the monster unconscious, and Josh rushes to help his father, pleading with him to wake up. Jennifer finally reaches her daughter, hugs her tightly, reassures her, and takes her to safety with Janice. However, the monster, now regaining awareness, locates their position, and Janice raises her weapon once more to shoot. The little girl pleads with them to leave him alone, insisting that she can calm him down and ask him not to harm anyone. However, Janice maintains that he is too dangerous and no one can stop him, so she continues firing multiple shots to scare him away. On their way, they meet Josh and his father and help Ray to stand. All of them prepare to escape when the monster tries to follow. Janice shoots at him, but he easily dodges the bullets. When the monster finds the little girl in danger, he runs to save her. Unfortunately, he falls instead of her and is severely injured. The little girl sits beside him, crying, and thanks him for saving her life. The dog approaches and sits next to his father, as if to bid farewell and apologize for not being with him. The next day, they bury the monster and their dog together. Afterward, they live in peace with their loyal companion. That concludes the events of our movie today. Stay tuned for more videos and summaries.